My parents chose my sister's dinner instead of my birthday, so I used my savings to buy a country house. I posted the photos. The best gift for myself. They called immediately. You need to give this house to Emma, my answer. I am Ashley, 35 years old, and I just went through the messiest divorce you can imagine. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Another woman whining about her ex, but trust me, this story gets way worse before it gets better. I work as a financial director at this big company downtown. Good job, decent money, the whole package, but apparently that doesn't matter to some people. My ex-husband cheated on me multiple times with multiple women. When I finally caught him red-handed, I was done filed for divorce. Immediately, my parents completely flipped out when I told them I was divorcing. Mark Ashley, you're being ridiculous. My mom said over the phone, he makes most of the money in your family. You live off his income. Mom, I literally make 6 figures. I'm a financial director. Don't exaggerate, honey. Mark told us about your little office job. Little office job. I wanted to scream, but this wasn't new. My parents never listened to me about anything. They always thought my younger sister, Emma, was the golden child. Growing up, it was obvious who the favorite was. When Emma was 7 and I was 15, she broke my laptop by spilling juice on it. My parents bought her a new tablet the same day because she felt bad. When I asked about my laptop, Dad said I should have been more careful where I left it. When Emma got her driver's license, they bought her a brand new Honda. When I got mine 3 years earlier, they gave me Dad's old beaten-up truck that barely started. Emma got into an okay college with mediocre grades. They threw her a huge party and paid for everything. I got into a better school with a partial scholarship. They said that's nice, and told me to figure out the rest of the tuition myself. So yeah, the favoritism wasn't exactly subtle. During the divorce proceedings, I ended up getting our apartment. Mark got the country house we bought together. It was fair. I put more money down on the apartment anyway, even though Mark always acted like he paid for everything. But my parents lost their minds over this too. How could you give him a country house? Mom screamed at me. We loved spending weekends there. Mark used to invite them over all the time and they'd sit on the deck drinking wine and talking about how wonderful he was. Now, we can't go to the house anymore. Dad complained. Thanks a lot, Ashley. You could visit me at the apartment instead. I suggested. Mom snorted. It's not the same. That house has a pool and a garden. Your apartment is just an apartment for 2 months after the divorce. They didn't invite me to family dinners. Not once. Emma would post pictures on Instagram of her mom and dad at their dining room table, all smiling and laughing. The caption would be something like family dinner night, and I wasn't in any of them. When I finally got invited back, Mom made sure to let me know how disappointed she was in me. You know, Emma's been asking questions about your divorce. She said, while passing the mashed potatoes, she's wondering if she should get married at all. After seeing what you did. What I did? You mean what Mark did? You're setting a bad example for your sister. She's only 27. She doesn't need to see you throwing away a perfectly good marriage. Emma just sat there smirking. She didn't say anything, but I could tell she was enjoying this. She always enjoyed it when I got in trouble. So here I was, recently divorced, financially stable, but emotionally drained, with parents who thought I was some kind of monster for leaving my cheating husband. The whole situation was insane, but you know what? I was starting to feel better about my life. I had my own place, a job I was good at, and friends who actually supported me. The apartment was nice, and for the first time in years, I could decorate it however I wanted without Mark complaining about everything. The funny thing is, I felt more independent and confident than I had in years. The divorce was painful, sure, but it was also kind of liberating. I could make my own decisions without someone constantly undermining me or cheating behind my back. My friends were great during this whole period. Sarah, my college roommate, took me out for drinks every Friday. My work colleagues invited me to their get-togethers, people who actually cared about me and supported my decisions. Some time passed like this. Then my 36th birthday started approaching. I decided to take control and called my parents 2 months in advance. Mom, I'm having a birthday party at my apartment. Don't plan anything else for that day. Okay, just come to my place. Yeah. We remember, she mumbled and hung up on me. I started preparing for my birthday party right away. I ordered catering from this nice restaurant downtown called All My Close Friends, invited the colleagues. I actually liked just the closest ones. I wanted everything planned in advance so there wouldn't be any surprises or last-minute drama. While I was organizing everything, I also called Dave, my realtor friend. He's the guy who helped me and Mark buy our apartment originally. Dave, I've got some savings and I'm thinking about buying a country house with a mortgage, obviously, but I can make a good down payment. That's awesome. Ashley, what are you looking for? Something nice, really nice. I want this to be my birthday gift to myself. Dave was excited and said he'd show me some options. A couple weeks later, he sent me listings for several houses. I spent my weekends driving around, checking them all out. The third one I saw was perfect. Beautiful property, great location, exactly what I'd been picturing. We made the deal a week before my birthday. I was so happy I could barely contain myself. The best part, I didn't tell my family anything about it. I wanted to surprise them at my birthday party, so my birthday finally arrived. I was actually excited for once. The catering looked amazing. My apartment was decorated perfectly, and I couldn't wait to tell everyone about my new house. I kept checking my phone for photos of it that Dave had sent me earlier. My friends started showing up around 6. Sarah brought wine. My colleagues from work brought flowers. Everyone was in a great mood, but by 7:30, there was still no sign of my parents or Emma. I started getting that familiar knot in my stomach. You know the one when you're expecting your family to disappoint you, but you're still hoping they won't? "Where's your family?" Sarah asked, looking around. "They'll be here," I said, but honestly, I was starting to worry. By 8 o'clock, the party was in full swing, but I couldn't stop checking my phone. I called Mom first straight to voicemail. Then Dad, same thing. Then Emma, nothing. I started texting them. "Hey, where are you guys? Party started an hour ago." Nothing. "Mom, Dad, Emma, please call me back." Getting worried? Still nothing. Everyone was having a great time eating the catered food, laughing, but I felt like I was going to throw out my own family. Couldn't even be bothered to show up to my birthday party that I'd planned 2 months in advance. Finally, around 9 o'clock, my phone buzzed a text from Mom. "We have other plans tonight. Emma is introducing us to her boyfriend at dinner. This is more important than your birthday." I stared at the message for like 5 minutes. I couldn't believe it. They chose Emma's dinner over my birthday. The birthday I'd specifically told them about 2 months ago. I was shaking when I called Emma. She actually picked up after a few rings. What she said sounding annoyed. "Emma, why did you plan your dinner thing tonight? It's my birthday party." She laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh, it just worked out that way. Sorry." But I could hear it in her voice. That mocking tone she'd used since we were kids. "You did this intentionally, didn't you? Don't be so dramatic, Ashley. Don't cry about it. Okay, you'll ruin your makeup." Then she hung up on me. I stood there holding my phone, feeling like someone had punched me in the gut. A minute later, another text came through. This time it was a photo. Emma, some guy I'd never seen before, and my parents all sitting at a fancy restaurant table smiling and raising their glasses like they were celebrating something amazing. I almost lost it right there. I wanted to scream, throw my phone, maybe just lock myself in my bedroom and cry. I had a house full of people who'd actually shown up for me. I took a deep breath, put my phone away, and went back to my guests. "Everything okay?" My colleague Mike asked. "Yeah, family emergency came up. They can't make it." Nobody pushed for details, which I appreciated. These people actually cared about me enough to be tactful. "Well, their loss," Sarah said, raising her glass. "Happy birthday, Ashley." Everyone toasted and I felt a little better. At least some people in my life gave a damn about me. That's when I decided to tell them about my surprise. "Actually, guys, I have some news. I bought a house." Everyone got excited and started asking questions. I pulled out my phone and showed them all the photos Dave had sent me. "Oh my God, Ashley, it's gorgeous." Sarah said, "This pool is incredible." Mike added, "You have to throw a housewarming party." Another friend said, "We'll all be there for the first time all night." I felt genuinely happy. These people were excited for me. They wanted to celebrate my success instead of making me feel guilty about it. The party went until almost midnight. Everyone helped me clean up, which was sweet. After they all left, I sat on my couch with a glass of wine thinking about what had happened. My family had deliberately chosen to skip my birthday. Emma had planned her dinner on my birthday on purpose just to hurt me, and none of them, not Mom, not Dad, not Emma, had even bothered to wish me happy birthday. But you know what? I had something they didn't know about, something that was going to change everything. I opened Instagram and uploaded the photos of my new country house. I wrote a caption, "The best gift for myself. Love yourself." I knew Mom, Dad, and Emma all followed me on social media. They'd see this post. Eventually I went to bed, feeling pretty satisfied. Tomorrow was going to be interesting. Saturday morning, I woke up to my phone buzzing like crazy. Missed calls from Mom, Dad, and Emma. Lots of them. I checked my messages. "Mom, what house is this? Where did you get money for this? Call me immediately." "Dad, Ashley, we need to talk." "What is going on, Emma? Is this real? How did you buy a house? Why didn't you tell us?" I made myself coffee and ignored all of them. For the first time in my life, I had something they wanted to know about and they could wait for answers, just like I'd been waiting for them to treat me like I mattered. Sunday morning, I was sitting at my kitchen table in my pajamas, enjoying my coffee and scrolling through my phone. The apartment was quiet, sunlight streaming through the windows, and for the first time in days, I felt relaxed. Then someone started pounding on my apartment door. Not polite, knocking, aggressive, demanding, pounding. That made my coffee cup rattle against the saucer. I looked through the peephole, and there they were. Mom, Dad, and Emma all standing in the hallway looking pissed off. I took a deep breath, smoothed down my hair and smiled to myself before opening the door. Well, 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 look who decided to visit. They pushed past me into my apartment without waiting for an invitation, their footsteps heavy on my hardwood floors. Mom immediately started looking around. Dad positioned himself in the center of my living room with his hands on his hips. Emma flopped down on my couch without being asked. Ashley, what the hell is going on? Dad shouted, his face already turning red the way it did when he was working himself up to a full tantrum. You bought a house and didn't tell us. That's completely irresponsible behavior. I stayed calm, leaning against my kitchen counter with my arms folded. I was going to tell you at my birthday party. You know, the one you didn't show up to for a moment. Both my parents looked uncomfortable. Mom glanced at Dad. Dad looked at his shoes, and Emma suddenly became very interested in examining her manicure. The silence stretched out for maybe 10 seconds before Mom's face hardened again. You can't afford a house with your salary. She snapped, her voice getting that shrill quality it always had when she was losing an argument. Where did you get the money? Did you take out some ridiculous loan? Are you in debt up to your eyeballs? I laughed. Actually laughed out loud, throwing my head back. If you people paid any attention to my life, you'd know I make good money as a financial director, but you never listen when I try to tell you anything. Mom's mouth opened and closed like a fish. She clearly had no idea what my actual salary was, despite the fact that I tried to explain my job to her dozens of times over the years. That's when Dad said something that made my blood run cold. You need to give this house to Emma. I stared at him. What did you just say? You heard me? Emma needs this house more than you do. I looked at all three of them thinking they had to be joking, but they weren't. They were dead serious. Mom nodded like this was the most reasonable thing in the world. We talked about it last night. You already have an apartment. Emma doesn't have anywhere to live when she gets married. Married? I said. Emma stepped forward with this smug look on her face. Derek and I are getting engaged soon. We're having our wedding in 6 months. We need somewhere to live. So you think I should just give you my house? I said slowly. It makes sense. Dad said, you don't need 2 places. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. These people were actually standing in my apartment demanding that I hand over the house I just bought with my own money to my spoiled little sister. You're all completely insane. I said, get out of my house. Now they look shocked. Like they genuinely thought I was going to say, sure, Emma, take my house. Ashley, don't be selfish. Mom started, get out. I yelled. I started pushing them toward the door. Dad tried to stand his ground, but I kept pushing you. People are unbelievable. I said as I shoved them into the hallway. I don't want to see any of you again, Ashley. You can't just, Emma started. I slammed the door in their faces and locked it. I could hear them arguing in the hallway for a few minutes. Then finally, their voices faded away. I thought that would be the end of it. I really did. They'd realize how ridiculous they were being and leave me alone. Wrong again. A few days later, my phone started ringing. Aunt Susan. Ashley, honey, I think you're being a little unfair to Emma. I hung up. Then Uncle Bob called. Your mother tells me you won't share your new house with your sister. That doesn't sound like you. I hung up on him too. Then my cousin Jennifer. Come on, Ashley, Emma's getting married. Can't you help her out more? Hanging up. I realized Mom had called every relative we had and told them some soft story about how mean I was being to poor little Emma. The calls kept coming for days, but the worst part was what Emma did on social media. She posted this photo of herself crying, actual tears streaming down her face, with a caption that said, when your own sister won't help you because she's jealous that you're getting married and she's divorced. Some people can't stand to see others happy. The comments were brutal. All our relatives and family friends telling Emma how sorry they were, how they couldn't believe I was being so selfish. Some people I barely knew were calling me horrible names. I didn't respond to any of it. What was the point? 2 weeks after the whole confrontation at my apartment, I decided to throw a housewarming party at my new place. I invited all the same people who'd come to my birthday, my real friends, the colleagues who actually cared about me, and the few relatives who hadn't demanded. I give my house away. I spent the week before the party buying furniture and decorating the house. Looked amazing. I was actually proud of what I'd accomplished. The party was scheduled for Saturday afternoon. I'd hired the same catering company, bought plenty of drinks, the whole thing. Around 2 o'clock people started arriving. Everyone was so impressed with the house. They kept telling me how proud they were of me, how I deserved this, how beautiful everything looked. I was having the best time I'd had in months. Then around 4 o'clock there was a knock at the door. I opened it and there were my parents. Surprise, Mom said, in this fake, cheerful voice. They walked right past me into the house like they'd been invited. Hello, everyone. Mom announced loudly to my guests. I'm Ashley's mother. My friends looked confused. They knew my parents hadn't come to my birthday. Mom made her way around the room introducing herself to everyone, acting like the perfect supportive mother. Then she got to the middle of the living room and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "I'm so proud of Ashley, and I'm sure she's going to let her father and me move into this beautiful house." Since we've decided to give our house to Emma for her wedding, the room went completely silent. I stood there for a moment processing what she just said. Then I smiled. "Actually, no," I said, just as loudly. "You're not moving into my house." Mom's face fell. "Ashley, we can work this out privately." "No, we can't." I walked over and opened the front door. "You need to leave now." Dad stepped forward. "I'm not going anywhere. This is ridiculous." "Then I'm calling the police." I pulled out my phone and started dialing. They left. As they walked to their car, Dad shouted back at me, "You're an ungrateful daughter." I closed the door and turned back to my guests who were all staring at me. "Sorry about that, everyone. Let's get this party back on track." And we did. My friends rallied around me, told me how proud they were that I'd stood up for myself, and we had an amazing rest of the afternoon. 6 months have passed since that housewarming party disaster, and I haven't spoken to my family once. Not a single word. And honestly, it's been the most peaceful 6 months of my adult life. I know Emma got married because I saw the photos on social media. Looked like a nice wedding. Expensive too. I wasn't invited. Obviously not that I would have gone anyway. I deleted all their social media accounts from my friends list after that, so I don't have to see their fake happy family posts anymore. From what I heard through the grapevine, because people love to gossip, Emma and her husband Derek are renting some apartment across town. Apparently it's not very nice. My cousin Jennifer mentioned it when she called to try to guilt trip me again about 2 months ago. Emma and Derek are living in this tiny one-bedroom place. She said, "If you just let them use your country house." I hung up on her mid-sentence. I've gotten really good at hanging up on people. My parents are still living in their old house, the same house they were supposedly going to give to Emma. Funny how that never happened. Once they realized I wasn't going to let them move into my place, I hear they're still complaining about me. To anyone who listen. According to my Aunt Susan, who actually supports me, thank God they tell everyone what an ungrateful daughter I am, how I have all this money and property and won't help my own family. They make you sound like some kind of monster. Aunt Susan told me last month. I just nod and change the subject. The best part is that they never actually tell people why I cut them off. They never mention skipping my birthday party or demanding I give Emma my house or trying to move into my place without asking. They just paint me as this selfish person who abandoned her loving family for no reason, but I don't care anymore. I really don't. My life is so much better without their drama. I love my country house. I spend every weekend there, sometimes having friends over, sometimes just enjoying the peace and quiet. I've got the pool area exactly how I want it. I planted a vegetable garden. I even got a dog, a golden retriever named Charlie, who's the best companion ever. Work is going great too. I got that promotion my boss hinted about, so now I'm making even more money. Turns out when you're not constantly stressed about family drama, you perform better at your job. Who would have thought? I've been dating someone for the past 3 months. His name is Tom. He's an architect and he's actually a decent human being. When I told him about my family situation, he said, "Good for you for setting boundaries. Toxic family members don't get a free pass just because they're related to you." It was so refreshing to hear someone say that instead of trying to convince me to work things out with people who clearly don't respect me, Tom loves the country house. He helped me install new lighting in the kitchen last weekend. We're taking things slow, but it's nice to be with someone who treats me like an equal partner instead of like I'm some kind of burden. My real friends have been amazing through all of this. Sarah throws a pool party at my place almost every month now. My work colleagues come over for barbecues. I've hosted book club meetings, birthday parties, even a baby shower for one of my friends. The house gets used and loved, which is exactly what I wanted. Sometimes I think about whether I should try to reconcile with my family. Usually that happens when I'm feeling lonely or when some well-meaning person tells me family is everything. But then I remember my birthday party. I remember them demanding I give Emma my house. I remember my mother trying to announce to my friends that she was moving in with me without even asking. I remember Emma's fake tears on social media and all the relatives calling to harass me. And I think, why would I want these people in my life? They never once apologized, not once. They never acknowledged that they'd hurt me or treated me unfairly. They just expected me to get over it and give them what they wanted. The thing is, I spent 35 years trying to win their approval. 35 years of being the responsible one, the one with a good job, the one who had her life together, and they still treated me like I was less important than Emma. Emma, who's never had a real job. Emma, who lived with our parents until she got married at 28. Emma, who threw a tantrum every time she didn't get her way and always got it anyway. I used to think there was something wrong with me. Like maybe I wasn't good enough or successful enough, or lovable enough to deserve their respect. Now I realize the problem was never me. The problem was them. They don't value hard work or independence or financial responsibility. They value whoever needs the most help and makes the most noise. They're not proud of me for buying my own house. They're resentful that I have something they want. So, no, I don't miss them. I don't miss the constant criticism, the favoritism, the guilt trips, the drama. I don't miss feeling like I'm never good enough, no matter what I accomplish. I miss the idea of having a loving, supportive family. But that's not what I had. What I had was 3 people who saw me as a resource to be exploited, not a person to be loved. Charlie just brought me his tennis ball, which means it's time for our evening walk around the property. The sunset looks beautiful from my back deck tonight. Tom's coming over and we're going to grill some fish and watch a movie. This is my life now. Quiet, peaceful, filled with people who actually care about me and respect my decisions. I have a beautiful home that I bought with my own money, a job I'm good at, friends who show up when it matters. I don't need people who only contact me when they want something. I don't need family members who think love means giving them whatever they demand. I don't need parents who choose favorites and expect the unfavored child to just accept it forever. What I need, I have. What I don't have, I don't need. And you know what? I'm really genuinely happy.